Good day. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about the campaign series Lua and how to script with it. We're going to be talking about defending, how to have a company defend. We're going to do that in 3 different ways. First is going to be a very easy way. Secondly, we're going to make it a little more interesting. And then third, we're going to make it just a little more complicated. I'll save the really complicated things for a different video. But yeah, so this will be, I guess, a couple of caveats. You need to have either Middle East or Campaign Series Middle East or Campaign Series Vietnam for this to work. You need to have the scripting tools that are available within those installations installed and ready to go. And then I will show you how things are going to be programmed, or how you should progress, really, basically. So the first thing that you need is a scenario. And I'm going to script this scenario. It's an existing Middle East scenario. It's called The Last Bastion, Qataf 1948. And the reason why I chose this is because this has some simple Egyptian companies that I'm going to individually attack with. So you want to make sure your scenario is all set up. What does that mean? So for example, I have all my units defending. I have all my companies together in relative close proximity. So if I highlight a company, you can see that they're all highlighted. They're all close together, and this is essential if you want to work on a company level. Now you can go down in the Lua file and break it down to each platoon. You can write code for each platoon if you want to. That takes a lot of time, and I encourage you to do that if you want. For me, I just do everything at the company level, with the exception of the heavy weapons. Now, I have everything set up the way that I want it to. I have the Israelis here ready to attack. I have the Egyptians here in their starting positions. You will notice that everything is fixed. I won't deal with that in this video, but we will go around in a future video and determine how we're going to, what are the conditions that these units are going to be released. And if I recall correctly, I have set up, so all the different companies are ready to go, but you'll notice that right now it says 999, so that means turn 999, they're going to be released with 100% accuracy. Well, obviously, that's not how it's going to work, because this is only a 12-turn scenario or something like that, right? So we need to set conditions for that, but we'll do that in a different video. All we're going to talk about in this video is how I'm going to script these particular companies to defend. Now, there's different ways we can defend, and we're going to get into that. So, something I'm going to do straight away is that this is my area of interest. So I am going to take a couple of screen grabs just for myself. So we're going to save that. Oops. And then, we are going to do it again, but we're going to turn on the map hints. This is going to tell me the, actually, you know what, I don't even need to do that. So let's grab that other screenshot that we just took. Since it's a fairly simple area, I'm just going to write down the objective numbers. We have objective number 1, objective number 2, 3, and 4. So fortunately, this is fairly straightforward. They usually count from left to right, and they'll go top to bottom. So everything in here, everything in there, etc. And I'm going to save this. Yes, I'll save that over top. And then the other one I'm going to do, just for my own sanity, is, because I'm going to close this, I don't need to have this open, is I'm going to turn on the hex locations. So we can identify the hex locations quite readily and quickly. Let's make a new screen grab. That's enough. That's all I need. I'll save that as well. And then what I'm going to do is find that folder. Alright, so now I have both of the screenshots. And we are good to go. Let's just clip that because we don't need that. Perfect. Now we can close out of that. We don't need it. And the next thing I'm going to do, since I have everything ready to go, I'm going to open up my shell and run and make the Lua file. And this is the code how to do that right in here. So let's make Lua. The game is Middle East. The file, this is the file that we're accessing, and the output file is this here. So basically it's going to copy the same name. If we did this right, it should go. And there we go. So we're done that. We can now go into the game folder, see our Lua file. We can open this up. Now I'm using Visual Studio Code, but you can use whatever you want. I'm just used to it. Keep in mind, I'm not a programmer. And just like that, we have our file. Let's see if we can pop this out. Alright, let's pop this out. Let's move to a new window. Let's move all this other stuff out of the way. And let's just take a look at this. So, we have our Lua file. It's blank, it's brand new, it's fresh. This is what the game actually creates. I'm just going to give you a quick overview. There's a place for you to add your own information here. Author is me of the scenario, scripter is also me, blah blah blah. I also add a date in there just to help me keep track of what version that it was done under, at least. Here's the startup. So this is where you're going to find your constants, your variables, your set org lists, etc. Which is all down in here. Gives you where the objectives are, which sides and things that you need. We'll go over this after. The main thing that I'm going to do in this particular overview is how to defend. That's all we're going to talk about. Here, where all the units are, this is important. This identifies which units are part of each company, so we need to know this. And let's see. So these are the Israelis. You can tell because they're starting with 22. These are the Egyptians because they're starting with 23. So these are the ones that we're going to be worried about, at least for now. Again, we're not going to worry about any of all this. This is just the briefing and whatnot. These we will look at another time. Same with that. Same with that. All right, the battle plan. This is what we need. So there's side A and side B. Battle plan for side A. We're going to leave that. And then side B. This is what we want. So I'm going to remove these things straight away. And then this is our company, or these are these are the companies that we're going to work with. But we're only going to do one company for this particular session. In the future, we'll do another company and just show you how to make this a little more interesting and whatnot. So, first thing I'm going to do is open up a side one so I can see what is in each company. So these companies, you can see they're highlighted. That company consists of these 3 platoons. This company consists of those 3 platoons. This company consists of those 3 platoons. And this company consists of those 3 platoons. And then we have a support company that has a variety of things in it, including anti-tank guns and whatnot. We will set up those individually. And I'll show you how to do that in another video as well. But first, we're going to pick one of these companies and we're going to go to town. Let's look at our... Before we do that, let's take a look at the Bible for this information. And that is the Lua functions reference found in your manual folder. This is important. This is where you're going to find this. This is going to let you know all you need to know, or what CS Legion or Lua can do all these little things. And I don't remember how many, but there's a whack load of options here that you can do. Our focus is going to be the scripted AI, which is going to be these. We're just going to be looking at the defend. I may do something a little more fancy, but for the, I think probably for this one we'll look at these anyways, and I'll show you what these are. If you want to know in more details about these things, what you can do is highlight one, copy it, go to Control F, find it, and you'll be able to see eventually defend normal. So here's the defend normal, and it gives you a breakdown of what that means and how you can use it. So here it's saying the things that it's going to be interested in is defend normal, and you have the track IDs, a hex coordinate, a direction, a radius, and the probability. Track IDs is the unit that the units, for example, in this case, it's units with the track ID of 412, 413, and 415, and then they're going to be defending at 6149. There's no hex direction, there's no radius, there's no act probability, so it's just going to default. So as it says here, it's going to default to no direction, it's just going to defend everywhere. There's going to be a no radius involved, as well as the act probability is going to be 50. So there's it was weird how this was explained to me, but it's like a 50% chance of it doing what it's supposed to be doing. So is it going to defend precisely here? If it's 50, no, it might be a hex off or something like that. But anyways, in here, this is where you need to find all of the capabilities that are within CS Lua. So it's very important to become familiar with this and see what's inside and see exactly how they work. Now, I still don't know everything that this can do because there's so much in here and I've barely scratched the surface. But as I get better, I will absolutely share the things that I have learned, and just to help you also get on board and helping me script, right? All right. So this is important. I probably won't reference this anymore because I already know kind of what we're going to do, and we're going to be doing everything in Lua, so we'll just leave it like that. And let's open up the scenario again. We need to decide on a company. Where are we? Here we are. I am using the 2.31 version, but it's the same no matter what. So we're just going to open up the scenario. Let's take a look. Okay, we have a few companies here. Let's see. How about this one? Now, you need to know this ID here. This is 162. This will identify which company that we're going to look at. And how do I find that? You do that by going options, unit list, show track IDs. So you notice that it's gone now. Options, unit list, show track IDs. Now it's there. So each company is going to be on the right hand side. So this is platoon 157 of company 154. And this is platoon 164 of 162. This is 165 of 162. And this is 163 of 162. So 162 is the company organization. That's the main thing we need to know. So I'll just minimize this for now. Let's go into our file and 5, company 162. Company 162 is the one that's highlighted, which is this one here. All right. So for the simple one, what we'll do is we'll find that file, go to defend, and I'm going to show you the easiest way. There it is, defend. So defend, normal, So there's the main difference is if it's defend weak, if the unit is assaulted, it will likely retreat. If it's defending normal, it might retreat. If it's defending strong, it likely won't retreat at all. And if it's defending fanatical, it will definitely not retreat and will defend at a higher value with the risk of taking more casualties. So that's why it's the fanatical. Anyways, all we're going to do is going to grab that. We're going to add that into there. So our track IDs in this case is this company, which is these track IDs. So this is replacing this, which means this units now is replacing this. So we can just type in units. So that's the list of track IDs. And all we want to do is that. Defend normal units. This is the easiest thing. What does this mean? Is that all of the platoons are going to defend in place. So if we take a look at our screenshot, wherever that went, these platoons are going to defend exactly where they are. They're not going to do anything else. All they're going to do is that. So that is the easiest thing to do. If we save that, like so, and we're good. So, okay, so let's make this just a little more complicated. Let's take a look at our screenshot and let's take a look at the situation. So right now, all they're doing is they're going to defend there, and that's all they're going to do. That's it, period. Well, what happens if I wanted to make things a little more interesting for them? So let's say I want to take this company, and if there are some units, some Israeli units around here, and they're released, so all this is only going to work if they're released, logically. If there are some Israeli units here, say there's more than a few, say there's 3 or 4 Israeli units here that I wanted to contend with, maybe the best option is not to defend exactly where they are. Maybe I want to have them move closer together. Maybe I'll join up into this particular hex here, into 2719, for example. How do I do that? Well, we need an if-then statement. And we're going to use this here as well. But what we're going to do is do a unit count. And what is that going to look like? So I need to create a local variable first. Let's do that. Local, and we're going to say equals units within count. And we want to say whatever the objective is. So units within count is actually in here, in that Lua file, but I'm just going to show you how it works. We're going to find which hex that we want. Where is that? So say 2919. If there are Israeli troops that we can see within, how about 2 hexes? So we are going to go, the location is 2919. The direction, so we can set a different direction, but we don't care what that direction is, so I'm just going to put no direction. And then we're going to go, let's see, the radius I think is going to be 2, and we're going to be looking for the Israeli side, which we should set that up straight away here before I forget. And then we don't want the computer to cheat, so it's going to be true. So it has to actually see that in order for that to be the case. So we have that. Now I'm going to add an if-then statement. If no, I don't need an if-then statement yet. I need to set a variable. So units, unit count, we'll say unit count at 2919. There we go. So this number, it's going to count every, here, let's space this out to make it a little bit easier to read. So this is saying this is going to be a number. So depending on how many units are within 2 hexes in any direction of 2919 from the Israeli side that we can actually see. If this was false, that means the AI is cheating. But if it's true, that means that it can only see what it can see. So it does an line of sight check, and if it doesn't count them, and then it doesn't see them. And we're going to say, okay. This is going to give us a number. So, for example, back to our little doodle here. If there was an Israeli unit here, here, and here, that would be 3. Assuming that line of sight check had say, then this value here would be 3. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, we're going to say if that unit count, 2919, is greater than 3, then we are going to defend strong. But we're going to change that location. So we're going to say that we are going to defend strong at, let's find our thing here, at this hex here, at 2719. So we are going to defend strong at 2719. Or, sorry, the units are going to defend strong there. Units are going to defend strong. And we're going to have it, they're going to defend in no direction. So anywhere that the Israelis come from, that's where we're concerned about. We're going to have the units defend within a radius of 1, and I want this to happen 100% of the time. So that's what's going to happen there. And if there's less than 3, or 3 or less, else, which means otherwise, you're just going to defend normally. 0. So if the Israelis don't come down here, nothing's going to happen. So that's kind of like the second thing, second more interesting thing. So let's do something else. Let's do a third thing, and we'll leave it at that for today. But yeah, let's assume, let's go back to our thing. Let's assume that maybe there's, let's say there's only 2 units. Maybe it's a scouting thing. And it's like, all right, we have a full company. How about if there's between 1 and 2 units, let's attack them and counterattack them. I think, hey, why not? That might be a good idea. So then let's add into this. So else if there's a unit count 2919 that is less than or equal to 1, or a unit count 2919 is, oh no, is equal to 1, sorry. Or equal to 2. I'm not very smart. Bear with me. If this unit count is equal to 1, or if it's equal to 2, then we will attack strong with the units let's do attack nearest to hex. So that means that they're going to attack the units that are closest to that 2919. And we are going to use the units to do that. So everything in this company, we're going to use the 2919 hex as the central point. Again, no direction. The radius of 2. We're doing this 100% of the time. And we want to attack strong. And again, we want this to be true. So I want to make sure that the AI isn't cheating. So there we go. We have here a very simple little system. So I could change this to greater than or equal to, no, I could do greater than 0 and less than 3, or less than or equal to 3. And this is the other way around. Greater than 0. There we go. So as you can see here, let's look at the logic. If this, if there's more than 3 units at this particular location, we are going to defend strong in this hex here. So all of our units are going to move into this hex, assuming everyone's unfixed. If there's more than 0 and less than or equal to 3, we're going to go attack them. We're going to go counterattack and see how that goes. Now, what happens if we're doing a counterattack and things are going really, really badly? Well, let's keep that in mind. And now we're going to do something else. We're going to add just one little thing. If the loss rate of the units that we've been playing with, this particular company, is going to be greater than 75%, which means most of the company is being wiped out, then we are going to just defend normal, weak, we'll say. No. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? Sorry, I'm thinking. I think what I want to do is withdraw. So if these guys have been butchered, actually, you know what? Let's do 65. So if this particular company has been butchered, what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw. And what does this mean? Withdraw is an interesting little thing. So I'm going to use the units, obviously. And what I can do is I can set up a series of waypoints that will allow us to withdraw in some kind of order. So if things have gone bad here, let's say I want to withdraw to, oh, I don't know, let's say 2518, 2518, and then the next place we're going to defend is going to be, say, 2117, 2117. Don't forget the commas in there. And then I'm going to do it again. And then we're going to say, all right, since we're here, let's just go all the way back to that objective, which is objective number 1. So then I'm going to say objectives number 1. Objectives number 1, which we know is up here. Objectives number 1, right there. That's what that is. Now we're going to say no direction, because we don't care. We are just trying to get the heck out of Dodge. We can also add a radius for each of these. So it's going to count if there's any units within 1 or 2 or 3 or however how many hexes that we say. So if we see enemy here, for example, that's 2 hexes away. Okay, then we need to move to the next position. Or we can do it for 1. So I'm going to say 2, 2, 2 and 1. That's what we're going to do. 2, 1, and then, no, let's go 2, 2, and 1. So it's basically, it's going to say, if 2 hexes from this hex, we're going to retreat. If not, we're going to do the same thing there. And let's just continue to go. We're going to do this 100% of the time. And what we're going to do is we're going to defend weak at each of these locations. So, actually no, we're going to defend weak at the first one. Defend weak. We're going to defend, oh wait, I should do this. Defend weak. And we're going to defend weak at the second one. Again, we don't want to hang around. But at the third one, we're going to defend strong. And then we can end that. There we go. Now, this is very simple, but it gives you an idea of the things that you can do. So let's quickly review what this means. So here, this particular rifle company, we're talking about this one here in the scenario. What is it going to do? Basically, it's going to defend normal. There's nothing that it's going to do. It's just going to sit there. Unless there are conditions that happen. And those conditions are met by this. One, it's going to say, I need to know if there's any units within 2 hexes of this particular hex, which is here, 2019. So 2 hexes around. Are there any Israelis? And if there are, how many are there? Based on that number, it's going to do something. It's going to say, all right, if we have more than 3, let's defend strong at this location here at 2719. But if there's more than 0, but less than 3, or less than or equal to 3, we're going to go and attack it. Because, hey, why not? And then what happens is that, so after it gets attacked, it's going to defend where it is, right? So, again, this is very simple. Simple organization, just to give you an idea how this works. If the loss rate, though, gets 65% or higher, so if these guys are suffering and they're down to, 2 strength points each or something like that, it's like, hey, we need to stop this fight because we're not winning anymore. We need to get out of there. And what they're going to do is they're going to withdraw to 2518, then they're going to withdraw to 2117, and finally they're going to end up at objective number 1. At each of these 2 locations, they're going to defend weakly, and lastly, they're going to defend strong. So, couple caveats for this type of stuff. You have to understand that the way the Lua script works is that 1, it reads from top to bottom. So it's going to come down here, look into here, it's going to say, all right, is this condition met? No? Okay, let's go to the second one. Okay, no, this is not met, then we're just going to do this. And then finally, if this since it's on the bottom, will overwrite anything that's up there. So if this is true, then this is what's going to happen with this company. So it goes through and reads through everything every time. The other thing that you need to know is that it can only do one thing per turn. So if at the beginning of the AI's turn, there's nothing there, then it's just going to defend. If by some chance, the AI has pushed a bunch of units in the same turn, Israelis, maybe they assaulted and pushed them into that 2 hex radius during the turn, this won't get triggered. So it'll have to wait until next turn. I hope that makes sense. You can only do one thing per turn for the AI scripting. So in the case of loading and unloading, or moving and unloading, for example, that'll be a matter of you need to drive, for example, a BMP that's loaded with infantry to a location, stop it, and then on the next turn you can unload it, and then the following turn you can then do something with your BMP and your infantry. So keep in mind, this is going to be, for scripting, it's going to be a slower process. You can still do lots with it, but it's going to be a slower process than a human would. That's just how it is. unfortunately. All right, now, this is my first tutorial showing you kind of what I've been learning over the last 2 years. It's not perfect, but this will work. We'll continue on with this, and I already can see that I would do things a lot differently, in the sense that that's a good start. This is a good start, so that's a good start. We'll just leave it there. Forget about it. We'll just leave it there. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will continue working on these type of scenario, or on these type of small, shorter videos to help you out with this type of thing. Anyways, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Huge shout out to Arthur for bringing it up, and hopefully this is going to be kind of useful. Again, I'm only using items that are within the Lua reference thing, so read that. That's the most important thing. I will continue to add little bits and pieces for each of these companies to make it interesting, and at the same time we'll probably script the Israelis, so I'll also show you how to attack. Now, there are original attack versions of this particular, not this particular, but a Vietnam scenario. And I realize that I've made mistakes in those, and I haven't corrected them. So bear with me. We'll get to that. Hopefully, with all the things that I've learned in the last 2 years for scripting with Lua in the campaign series, then this will be, way better than it was in the original Tan Am scenario, if you remember correctly. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, any questions, please leave them down below. I am always happy to answer. On that note, take care, good luck, and talk to you soon.